An unfortunate injury opens a major hole at left wing. Who's going to be the player that steps into that spot? We discuss on today's Locked On Mammoth.
You are Locked On Mammoth, your daily podcast on the Utah Mammoth, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome in once again to Locked On Mammoth. I'm veteran NHL voice Tom Callahan, joined by longtime team analyst Robyn Leaño, and together we are the dynamic duo that brings you this awesome podcast each and every single day. Thank you for making us your first listen when it comes to the Utah Mammoth hockey team. We're at you 5 times every single week right now as we are into training camp. The wheels are turning, and unfortunately, the injuries, well, they've started early. Robyn, number one, I want to tell people not to panic because injuries plagued this team last year. But already out of camp, we know that Alex Kerfoot is going to be out and was not day-to-day, but week to week with a lower body injury. That's going to open a major hole at left wing. But first of all, I want to talk about the impact of Kerfoot being out and then talk about who's stepping into that role.
Yeah, it's insane that we got this that we're already hearing it. You know, we're just 2 days into training camp, right? And already hearing an injury. It's not unprecedented. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I feel like a lot of players, they do some off-season training. Every athlete trains 24/7 year-round. You know, 365. But it's different because when you actually get back on the ice and do all that level of practice, there's sometimes you use some muscles you're not used to again because you've been off for 2, 3, 4 months, and all of a sudden it doesn't go your way, especially Tom, if you are a more veteran player and if you are, you know, on a little bit on that older side.
Now, if you're just you might be new to hockey and the way injuries are reported. It's not like the NFL where there's pretty much full disclosure every single week. There's an injury list that comes out, and I mean, you've got it right down to the pinky finger. The NHL is not like that.
No.
And our everydayers know this, that NHL teams, Barry Trotz one time when I was in Nashville working for the Predators, he joked that a guy had an on-the-body injury. Well, no kidding. Somewhere along the way, we devolved into not saying it's an arm, a leg, a knee, a neck. We have now just gotten to the point where it's upper or lower body, and now middle body has crept into the lexicon.
It's funny because we won't find out until we don't really find out what exactly is the issue until like the end of the year, like after the Stanley Cup playoffs or after exit interviews or whatever. We're like, oh, what was what have you been doing? Oh, I had a broken foot. Like, seriously?
Yeah. You find, especially at the end of the playoffs, no one is injured during the playoffs until their season ends, and then you find out that they actually were missing an arm. So it's kind of wild.
Hockey players are wild, man.
Yeah, they really are. Like, they're the toughest sons of guns out there. But so with Kerfoot, lower body is what it's been described as. I mean, that could be anything. It could be broke a bone in his foot blocking a shot, could be a groin pull, could be tweaked a knee. We don't know. And we won't know for a while, probably. But the thing is, Robyn, him being out week to week, to me, that says don't expect this guy for opening night. That opens a hole at what is currently projected to be the third line left wing. And I want to get into the lines and talk about that in a little bit as well. But Robyn, there's the potential now for some players to burst through that spot opening on the left side because Michael Carcone's on the left side. They brought him back in and had him on the fourth line. But also, there's a couple other big names that could fit in on that left side. Tij Iginla can play the left side. Daniil But can play the left side. And Spicy Tuna will pretty much play wherever you stick him. He could play that left side as well if you were to elevate Carcone and put Tuna in that spot. But Robyn, is this the chance we've been waiting for to see Tij Iginla get his NHL games?
You know, I think it very much is. And also to preface, that is, again, as to like if we were talking their natural wing, right? So left shot, left wing, right shot, right wing. Some players like to play the opposite side, but that's based off that knowledge. But back to the question at hand, I do think this is a really good opportunity. Like, we have been hyping up Tij Iginla for such a long time. We know he's got healthy. We discussed what he did during his recovery, and then not to mention, Tom, yesterday, while I was taking a break from work, I open up, Twitter, and I and I see a tweet with a video of Tij Iginla skating and doing some puck handling and shots, and I was amazed, and I'm like, this kid needs to get his shot, and I feel like this is his opportunity.
It's interesting to me because with Kerfoot coming out, Kerfoot last year, and you and I were talking about this before the show, but you pointed out rightly that last year at the end of the year, Kerfoot really was a key player for this Mammoth team. A soothing veteran presence who I don't think tries to do too much, plays a very solid game, works hard, shows up every shift. That's the kind of dependability you're getting in a veteran like Kerfoot, and why Kerfoot matters so much. So now, Robyn, if you're replacing that player with a younger player, that it might shift what that line looks like, because as of the opening of camp before Kerfoot went down, it was McBain in the middle, Krause on the right side, and now question mark on that left side. What does that do to how that line plays if you put an offensive player like a But, or I mean, can But play a two-way role? Can Iginla play that two-way role? Can they make that line an effective third line? Does it make it better? What do we see?
Well, here's the thing. Honestly, I feel like that's like, I'm looking at it, and that's a very perfect spot to put, I think, a player like Iginla, for a couple of reasons. One, we talked about Krause and how he was last year, but I think he's moving to, back and feeling. I'm hopeful he's going to figure himself out this year, right? Krause is the associate captain, right? He's someone you want to be around. I can imagine Krause being an amazing kind of in a mentor role for a kid like Tij Iginla.
Now, and this is where I always, you and I have disagreed on this, and I'm going to underscore that again. You have said you wouldn't mind Iginla on the third line. I have said top six or bust for Iginla, or goes back to junior hockey.
I think, and I think it's important for me to say that, like, I'm not saying, like, I do not think Tij Iginla will be third line. Like, if he starts the year on third line, that's fine. But I think it's just for his tryout, essentially, right? For his 9-game tryout before the whatever it is, before the first year of the ELC officially kicks in. Then you send him back to juniors, back to Kelowna, and let him have his year down there as he works towards a top 6 role. But I feel like I would love to see him get his NHL minutes on a third line role, especially if you're like in a power forward checking group like that. Like, that's a great spot to be in.
Now, Robyn, this sets up two scenarios in my mind that I want to talk about here, but I also want to tell folks that the top 6 in the last couple of days of camp here, we've only had really 2 days. So the first, now this is weird. I don't even know which one of these is the first line because of the way the personnel's been shifted around. There's a young guns line that's been developed here. Left to right, you've got Peterka, Cooley, and Gunther playing together early on. And then you've got Keller, Hayton, and Schmaltz playing together. Now, I would argue that Clayton Keller's line is going to be the first line. I don't think the young guns line is the first line, and here's why. Matchups. I think that matchups, you want the veteran guys out there, top line against top line. I don't think you want the young guns out there against the other team's first line. You would rather have them out against the second line. So let's not be hasty there. But Robyn, I want to talk about something here that sets up really an interesting and possible extension, if you will, of But and Iginla to stick around with the big club.
Interesting. Okay. We'll talk about that.
Let's dive into that. And today's show brought to you by FanDuel. Hey, the NFL season is here, and FanDuel's making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Go Bills. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I like FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet, whether it's player props, maybe you like building that same game parlay. I know Robin's a big fan of that, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. If you're watching that Thursday night football game with the Bills and the Dolphins, man, that was something, wasn't it? You know what? The game wasn't over. And if you're still there, you're watching through the end of the game, the fourth quarter, it makes every game more exciting, and it's quick, it's easy. It's the best way to add a little more energy to your Thursdays and Sundays. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Tom Callahan, Robyn Leaño here with you. This is a mammoth show today. Pardon the pun. We have so much to cover. There's a lot going on. Just one day, really a day and a half into Mammoth training camp here with the news coming out about Kerfoot being out. Robyn, this to me sets up an interesting setup. And by the way, this is where I always tell you, hey, if you like the show, please subscribe. Go ahead and do that right now. Click that subscribe button. It's absolutely free. And you get all this fantastic hockey analysis 5 times a week in your inbox. Robyn, here's my thought now. You sparked a thought.
Okay.
If you're going to get me to accept Tij Iginla on the third line for that 9-game tryout, okay, there could be a situation where I would accept it, Iginla on that third line, to get an NHL look as a wing with less responsibility, if that also means Danny Goals is rotated in and out of that left wing spot with Iginla. So essentially, Iginla would end up with 2 calendar months with the big club, could play up to those 10 games, while But would also be in and out of the lineup. But now they're both getting NHL practices for 2 months, because I don't think keeping Iginla here for 2 months kills anything about sending him back to junior. But I think if they keep him here October, November, maybe send him back sometime in December, and then decide by then if Kerfoot's back, right? Is Kerfoot back? Mm-hmm. We don't know what week to week means. So I don't know. I'm interested. That okay. Maybe I'll accept that, Robyn. Does that sound like a palatable way to do it to you?
I think it's a possibility. I mean, I'd like to see more from Danny Goals in training camp before I make a decision like that, because I haven't seen a whole lot from him. The thing is, and I've even only seen a little from Tij Iginla, but what I saw, I really, really, really liked. Right? I have to get the same observation level for Danny Goals and see what exactly and see what it looks like. And I think that would make sense, right? Because you kind of have 2 forwards who are fighting for a roster spot. Might as well give them that shot with 1 player out, rotate them, do what you can, and then see and then go as much as you can until the tryout's done. Let him go back down to juniors after that, and then have him participate and have him ready for the U20 World Junior Championship at the end of December and January.
Are we overlooking Michael Carcone? Should Carcone be the first person into that slot? Or is Carcone still really, because that was his big thing, right? Playing time. They clearly felt like he wasn't good enough last year to be a full-time player. He's slotted into the quote-unquote 4th line as of now. Do you give him a chance on the 3rd line to see if he can prove himself to be that player, or would you rather keep him on the 4th line and give the kids a shot?
I'll go back to what I literally just said. So I think it all depends on what Daniil But does, right? I feel like if he has an okay training camp, like it's honestly, I would even say I can even use the joke from the from the movie Miracle, right? The way like Coach Harry Brooks said, you give me 99%, you're going to make my job very easy. Same thing can be said for Daniil But. He doesn't give his full 100%, I feel like the decision is made, right? And I feel like he can get sent to Tucson, let him develop there, while the rotation ends up being between Michael Carcone and Tij Iginla.
Now, if you do move Carcone up, you could have a fourth line that would be Spicy Tuna, Kevin Stenlund, and Tanev on the right side. So I would get my dream of Tuna and Tanev together.
That's still an interesting. I don't know. I still don't know how I feel about that line, but yeah, that's I could see it could happen.
To me, that's not just a wrecking ball. That's a wrecking ball that has been superheated, soaked with gasoline, set on fire, and being swung from a crane the size of the Empire State Building. Like, that could really be a line that just absolutely turns momentum every time they're out there, as long as they stay out of the box.
That will see, to me, I feel like for the most part, that's a Liam O'Brien issue. I love Liam O'Brien, but I feel like it's more. I feel like he needs to reel it in.
It just needs to be disciplined.
Yeah,
right.
No.
Just don't get your arms parallel, your stick parallel. Keep moving your feet.
And I'm not saying that like Tanev doesn't do that. I feel like he does have his moments, right? Every agitator does, but Tanev also does have his fast skating skills, and I feel like it's gonna give him the leg up on that line. I feel like it's gonna be awesome to see. Like, and as people have pointed out during the offseason when we talked about it, there's a reason why they call him Turbo.
Right. And you know what? There's a lot of looks here. You know, at the end of the day, and so let us know in the comments, by the way, what would you do with what is now a week-to-week hole on that left side of this third line? Again, the top six, and here's the other thing about me and the top six and Iginla. I don't see that there's any room for him right now in the top six. Now, we know that Nick Schmaltz's contract is up at the end of the year. But that's a whole nother kettle of fish. Like, that's a year away from now. So I'm not even willing to entertain discussion on that yet.
And I know there are some everydayers. There seems to be just a small group of our everydayers, not everyone, but a small group of our everydayers who seem that they want the team to move on from Schmaltz after this year. But I mean, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what he does this year and everything else. But again, that's, as you said, Tom, that's still a year away.
Yeah. And maybe he's gone by the deadline. I don't know, but you know, that's not what I would expect out of all this. Here's the other thing now that this rolls into for me, once we start talking about this, Robyn, is I'll call it rhetoric coming from Andre Tourny, is less about development and more about the pressure of making the playoffs, which again, I think the national media put that pressure on them last year, but certainly we did not, because we knew better. We were smarter than that, by the way. I'm just going to go ahead and point that out. But this year, we are saying playoffs are bust. And now that has to turn the focus away from development. We've been developing this team as a franchise, and again, nod to the everydayers, 5-6 years. Like, this is not new. Okay, it's time now, fellas. It's time. It's playoff time. Stop telling me about we're young, we're going to get there, we're taking the next step. No, this year is your step. This year is your playoffs. Has to be.
I loved the kind of combing through some media day stuff. We'll share some media day clips over the course of this weekend, by the way. But I was hearing, and they asked all the players about this, but seemed to be the main source coming from Barrett Hayton, who was saying last year was about hope, right? There seems to be this level of hope towards the end of the year. It's like, oh, maybe we might make it in. Things are coming up. But this year is about confidence, because they know that they have the right team. They know that this team is ready for the playoffs.
Yeah. And that's the important part. And again, it's about everybody living up to and fulfilling their roles and their expectations. So this is interesting, though. And this is not an immediate answer, and it could be a trial by fire answer. Robyn, I never thought I'd say this. Suddenly having a total of 8 preseason games might not be the worst thing if you're trying to figure out who fits in this role. I still think 8 is way too much.
It is a lot. But in this scenario, in this very specific scenario, it will help.
Yeah, this is because you're going to get a chance to get a lot of different looks and a lot of different combos in 8 games. And really, there's 2 lines worth of left wing juggling to be done, in my opinion, 3rd and 4th line, if you're going to give guys shots and looks. So, but how much more important now does that make these preseason games, at least for these guys? So,
yeah. And of course, there's a little bit of the shuffling between that, like between the 1st and 2nd line, however you want to do it. I know you said what you think about who really should be 1st and who should be 2nd. I should also make my comment real quick, Tom, that I do think that like when we see the lines posted on social media, what they are currently, I don't take it as a 1-2, as a full 1-2-3-4 line. Plus, I've seen NHL teams put like what appears to be a 4th line on 1st, and they really just rotate it. I take all that for granted, like all that with a grain of salt at this point.
Yes, and you should, because just because something is the way it is now doesn't mean come this time next week it's not completely different. But you want to see what works, and if you find chemistry, if you catch lightning in a bottle, great, run with it. But if it's not working out, I mean, on paper, Peterka, Cooley, and Gunther should run the other team ragged with speed, with energy, and skill.
That is the perfect mark of a 2nd line.
I would love to see those guys steamroll the competition. But if they're not connecting, there's only one puck. If they're all trying to do everything all the time individually and they're just not working together, well, then you gotta throw it back in the blender and hit frappe. Although maybe at the same time you just swap Hayton and Cooley as well, because Cooley is a 1st line center. Like, let's be real. He's a 1st line center. And again, I've already stated the reason why I think that Keller, Hayton, Schmaltz combo would be my matchup combo against the other team's top line, because I think they're way more defensively responsible. And they're still going to get their points. They'll still get their points. I think that that's how skilled Clayton Keller is. And there's nothing saying that Peterka and Keller don't swap spots. But we're going to get a chance to find all that out with these games. So that's a big part of the interest for me, is to see how all that goes. All right, let's wrap things up here. And I wanted to talk a little bit about this new rink that the Mammoth have just unveiled. It's palatial. We know that. But I thought it was interesting. Ryan Smith had some interesting things to say about the community side of how he envisions this rink being used. Tom Callahan, Robyn Leaño, back here with you, Locked on Mammoth. Thanks for joining us, everybody. If you are a local who listens to this show, there's something to be excited about in the community. Now, number one, we already know Robyn. Everybody has said, even I thought it was funny because Nate Schmidt, they asked him about the practice facility, and he kind of laughed, as he does. He laughs when he answers every question, which I love. I think it's hilarious because you could just tell he's just a good mood kind of guy. Florida's, the Panthers, where he came from, are known for their practice facility being amazing. Mm-hmm. Okay? Like tops in the NHL. And they asked Schmidt how it compares the new one to Florida. And you could see he was trying to figure out how to juggle it, but he said, you know what? I'm going to say that one is number 2. Wow. Indicating that he believes the Utah Mammoth have indeed topped what the Florida Panthers have put together. So that's pretty cool.
I want to tell you, by the way, I did get a chance to walk back to see Minnesota's. Also, by the way, very nice. I love that place. But based off the pictures what I saw for Utah, it is amazing.
It has pretty much everything.
It does. It really does. And I think the amazing thing, Tom, and players talked about this, and everyone's talked about this, is seeing that Ryan Smith was able to put that vision and construction within 13 months. Right? 13 months.
And in Utah, where it's not easy to have construction season all year round.
Right? And and see That's the thing. And like and if I have any remnant Arizona fans, like you might hate me the way I say this, but I feel like the difference, the difference is night and day, of course, when it comes to the ownership, right? You have an owner who's willing to actually spend that money. And honestly, I do think it will work in Arizona. There will be an owner who's willing to spend that much, but that tells you the difference, right? I saw Arizona's. It was barely a practice facility. It was barely an actual facility.
Mullet Arena was nicer.
No, yeah, you're right. Like the Apex rink was okay, but then the actual training facility, it was just essentially like a gym. Like there was nothing crazy. There was nothing special about it. There was nothing like this place. It seems like something that you can call home for the players and for the fans in the community.
So, Robyn, talking about that community, thank you for segueing me back over there. Talking about that, the Utah Mammoth are going to be practicing on this obviously heavily during training camp and during the regular season as well. They've got their own facilities. But what about the plans that Ryan Smith has for everybody else when the Mammoth aren't on the ice here?
Yeah, and this is absolutely amazing. I saw it, a clip from Ryan Smith during media day, and pretty much said that when this facility is not being used by the Mammoth, it's going to be used by the community. So essentially, it wants it to be used all year round, 24/7, whatever it might be, by either the team or the community. And taking a look at everything, Tom, and like some of the stats in there, and some of the things that they put in the little sheet that they share with us, there are 10 locker rooms.
So you can have a tournament in there very easily, is what this translates into. Because I'm sure they're not counting the Mammoth locker room in this locker room. That's just Mammoth stuff.
These are 10 community locker rooms.
Right. So that means you can have up to 5 games ready to go for these 2 sheets of ice. Robyn, that's pretty impressive that they can roll teams through there like that and really set up to do a dynamite job of being able to host tournaments, to have adult hockey, youth hockey, learn to skate programs. I don't know if they're going to do figure skating on that ice or not.
They probably will.
There's so much they can do. I mean, you can learn to skate there and then transition right into playing hockey or whatever you want to do in one place, one facility, one-stop shop.
I feel like an adult hockey tournament there will go so hard, Tom. You'll go, mate. Because here's the thing. Because not only is that there's also mentioned, but there's also like a little mini like sports bar restaurant there in the place as well. That's going to be a home for watch parties. But if you think about it from in the scheme of an adult hockey tournament, is you can have a welcome party there, you can have the games there, and while you're waiting for a game, you're at the bar having a beer, watching the other games. Like it is a whole place to hang out.
Right. Right. And that's the way they designed it. It has more of a community central focus. Parents, if your kids are playing, you can drop them off. They go down, they do their thing. You can watch the game upstairs. And, some people want to be out on the bleachers doing the yelling and the screaming and the rooting and all that. And other people want to be standing inside the restaurant, or maybe they're going to grab a bite to eat in the middle of a stressful day for themselves.
Yeah. Then there's always the hockey dads who will just stand right by the corner boards and just kind of like right next to the glass, just kind of just stand there chatting with each other.
Yeah. I wonder what kind of hockey dad I would ever be. Who knows? But I'd be the quiet observer. I'm not the yeller and screamer type. So, but honestly, Robyn, I love the fact that this was, sure, it was done for the hockey team. Yes, of course. An NHL team is the impetus for this happening. But I love how they're turning it into such a major community asset.
No, absolutely. And like it goes to what I said is like, earlier when the difference on the ownership, right? Where like, it's the owner buying, completely buying in, giving a home to the players, but also being just, showing how much he cares about the community and showing that they're willing to put the money and where it, and use it correctly to help grow the sport in the community. because how else are you going to grow your fan base if you can't grow the community?
Exactly. And the more people you have who have deeper roots into the game itself, I think can only be
You get
better all the
more
way around.
people on the ice. You get more kids on the ice because what they see is you get more accessibility. These kids are watching players play, and they're like, "Hey, I want to try. Can I play hockey as well?" And they're doing that. Like I even saw, and I think it's going to be at this ring too. That they're now launching an adult learn to play program.
That's fantastic.
Like
That's
I saw it, and I'm like, "This is fantastic." Like I mean, they've been like there have been adult learn to play programs or adult skates. Like I saw, about 2 months ago, you all know that we had Kelly Queel from the Utah Howl Launch. I've been following her, for the last 2 months as well as seeing what she's been doing. She's been doing a lot to grow hockey I was about to say Arizona for a second, but hockey in Utah. See where my mind's at this point. But hockey in Utah, like she did a ladies skate night, learn to skate, having all the women hockey people or just skating people, had a PWHL player hang out. Like it just shows me how much the community cares about this sport and how much that not just the community is doing it at the grassroots level, but when you combine that with what the owner is doing, with what Ryan Smith and that group is doing, it's a complete difference. It is amazing to see, and I love it.
Yes, absolutely. We love seeing the growth. Absolutely. So, Robyn, as we put a bow on this show, if folks want to reach out to us with their comments, their questions, anything like that, where can they find us on social media?
You can find us on social media just about everywhere. I primarily manage the one over on Twitter at Locked On Mammoth, at Locked On Mammoth. You can find me personally. I manage myself over at Robyn_Leaño. That's Robyn with the Y _Leano.
Nobody will manage me, not even me. I'm Blue Sky at Tom Talks and on Twitter at Callahan on Air. So if you want to reach out to us, please feel free to do so. I know with a lot of things, there's going to be a lot of breaking news out of camp, even over the weekend. And as the games go on, we're going to try to do our best to keep in touch and cover absolutely everything going on for you. So you can always reach us there as well. So, all right, everybody, that's going to do it for this episode. As always, we thank you so much for being a part of Locked On Mammoth.